Last question for you, Conor. When you land that left hand and Max falls, what is that going to feel like, man? I mean, that's 40 yards away. Like, what do you think that's going to feel?
Glory to God. Glory to God.
Mystic Max, go out there, put them hands on him, and I hope he likes swimming because we're going to drown him.
We have a call out ready?
We see what happens. We see first things first is drowning him, is taking care of the guy on the menu, you know, and then after that, maybe you can hear me say a bunch of names.
See that fight, that rematch with Conor McGregor.
It's going to be a tremendous fight. I think that we now get to see two guys that are adults, right? The first time they fought, they were children. Max was a kid, Conor was a kid. These guys are going to be grown men fighting in what will be. It's hard to think that an event will get bigger after this, but every time Conor McGregor is here, it's bigger and it's better. The sport's better with this man in the fight game, so I'm excited for that, as I am excited about.
How do you think Conor's going to come back in his fight versus Holloway?
Here's what I can say. I've never seen a situation where coming back from such a long layoff is a good thing. Layoffs in this business are, you got to stay active. You got to stay busy. But again, you're talking about a guy like Conor who has that knockout power. And Max Holloway's, one of the greatest to ever fucking do it.
The war of words is already heating up before UFC 329 even begins. Conor McGregor remains fully confident, believing one clean left hand will be enough to finish Max Holloway, while Holloway fires right back with a chilling promise to drown Conor under relentless pressure. But according to Daniel Cormier, comparing this rematch to their first fight is a huge mistake because both men have transformed into completely different champions over the last decade. And despite all the doubts surrounding McGregor's 5-year layoff, Dana White believes Conor still possesses one weapon capable of changing everything in an instant, his devastating knockout power.
I'm excited to get in and showcase who really is the greatest featherweight of all time. That's correct. The fight is at welterweight, but you get what I'm saying. I beat these men handily, absolutely easily. And yet I go on my career and you listen to this, that these men are better than me in the featherweight division, even though I beat them. So, that was motivation for me in the camp, fuel for me in this camp, for sure. I'm excited to compete here at welterweight also. I feel good at this weight. I've had some excellent performances in the welterweight division. Saturday night's going to be another one. Look, styles make fights. It's not a good matchup for him. It's not a good matchup for him. He's a good fighter. He's not a bad fighter. He's not on the level of the Mac. I'll tell you what, if they look after Forge Stout in Australia, I'll put him up the pecking order a bit more. Very good. Very, very excited. Sheer confidence comes through preparation. And the preparation has been very, very meticulous and very detailed.
Conor McGregor believes UFC 329 is about far more than just winning a rematch. In his mind, this fight is the perfect opportunity to silence the critics and prove who the true greatest featherweight of all time really is. Despite the bout taking place at welterweight, Conor insists his past victories over elite names already speak for themselves. Fueled by confidence and a training camp, he says, has prepared him perfectly. McGregor claims this matchup favors him in every way. He respects Max Holloway as a fighter, but makes one bold statement that could add even more fuel to one of the biggest rivalries in UFC history.
At the end of the day, in my mind, I would do the same thing. I think he's a hammer, you know what I mean? I think he's an animal for doing that. And I see a lot of people calling him out, and I'm like, bro, if I was in the same situation, I think I would do the same thing, And but that just shows the war mentality he has, how much money he has in the bank, the injury he had to come back, the 5-year layoff. We're here now, so I got nothing but respect for the man and doing that. And if you got to talk a little bit to get him there, just make sure you show up Saturday night.
Well, it seems like he's saying the right things in the interview, saying, look, I haven't fought in 5 years. I don't have the wear and tear that Max does. He said he feels like he's still in his prime. When you hear that stuff, what do you think, knowing what 5 years can do in terms of a layoff?
I mean, like he said, he got to recover. He got recovery. A lot of us go into these fights fighting all the time, banged up most of the time, and then we get little recovery, and then we got to turn back around, So at the end of the day, I can see where he's coming from. The bad part for him is he's fighting me. He got to see me from the octagon, There's a lot of guys that he could have chose. He chose the wrong one.
Well, we know how you two matched up 30.
I mean, the only message to Conor is, keep telling yourself what you got to do. Keep hyping yourself. Keep telling yourself whatever you believe in. You're saying that you see nothing different in me. Keep tuning that horn of yours, because when Octagon doors close come July 11th, you have to see me, man. It's gonna be me and you in there, so it's gonna be a fun one.
You expect to have to.
Max Holloway isn't underestimating Conor McGregor's return at all. He understands why Conor believes the 5-year layoff has helped him recover and come back stronger. But Holloway insists none of that will matter once they step into the octagon. According to Max, McGregor made one huge mistake by choosing him for this comeback. And when the cage door closes on fight night, all the confidence and trash talk will finally be put to the test. Can 5 years away from the octagon really be erased overnight? Joe Rogan believes one overlooked factor could decide everything.
Yeah. Are we expecting to see a Conor that looked like Nate this last fight? Or are we expecting to see a better Conor than someone that looked like Nate? Because Nate did not look good.
No, but Mike Perry did.
And
Mike Perry looked like a fucking murderer.
You know what I mean? Like
Mike Perry is a murderer.
He's a murderer.
And this
such a savage.
You take a look at that. When you're taking an older fighter, which Nate is now, and you're
21. You're 5 fucking years ago, July. So it literally will be 6 years.
Yep.
Yeah.
But when you're
it'll be 5 years.
It'll
be 5 years.
When you're taking a younger fighter and putting them against the old dog, it normally doesn't end well for the old dog.
Well, the thing is about Max Holloway is like Max Holloway isn't that much younger than Conor.
He's not.
But the thing is, Max has been in constant high-level competition the entire time. Won the BMF fight, beat Dustin, like constant high-level competition.
That's right.
It's a different thing.
And I honestly believe him at 155 is the best thing for him.
Absolutely.
But he's not 155 in this fight.
This is 170.
170.
But honestly, he made me.
While Conor McGregor's comeback has everyone talking, Joe Rogan believes there's one factor fans shouldn't ignore. It's not just age or power, it's activity. Unlike Conor, Max Holloway has spent the last several years facing elite competition without slowing down. According to Rogan and the crew, that constant experience could make Holloway the sharper and more battle-tested fighter when they finally meet, raising a serious question about whether 5 years away can truly be erased on fight night.
As well, and that first round against Max Holloway is going to be very, very interesting. Max is going to have to be careful. He's not the type of guy to dance around and stay away and just just jab and jog. No, he's going to stand his ground and fight like a man, and that's what's going to make it so dangerous. Because yes, of course, if he gets out of the first round and it goes to the second and the third round, Conor McGregor was never a cardio machine. He was always a guy that tended to fade in the prime of his career. And if he struggled going into the later rounds in the prime of his career when he was coming up, he's certainly going to struggle now when the man's pushing 40 and he hasn't fought in 5 years. Has he trained hard for this fight? Of course he has, 100%. Has he pushed himself harder than what he was doing in 2013, 14, 15? I don't know. I don't know if that's even possible when you have accumulated all the wealth, when you've knocked it out the park, when you've conquered the game already. Do you still have to train quite as hard, right? Because if he has done, then maybe. But even when he was, because he had to have been back in the day, he still got tired the longer the fight went. So it's a very, very interesting matchup. We're going to see how fight.
Michael Bisping believes the McGregor versus Holloway rematch could be split into two completely different fights. The opening round, he says, is where Conor McGregor is at his most dangerous with the power and precision to end the contest in an instant. But if Max Holloway survives that early storms, everything could begin to swing in his favor. Bisping points to McGregor's history of slowing down in longer fights, adding that a 5-year layoff only raises more questions about his endurance. If the fight reaches the championship rounds, Holloway's relentless pace, pressure, and ability to keep pushing forward could become the deciding factor that changes the entire outcome.
It's been 5 years. He's almost 38 years old. Is he out of his mind? Do we think that he can do this? Because when you look at the stylistic matchup, right, it's going to be dangerous for Conor McGregor. Max Holloway, he calls himself the best boxer in the UFC. Max Holloway doesn't have that one-punch knockout power, but he wears people down. And that's why it's Max Holloway that in the final 10 seconds, that's why he points at the ground, not at the start of the fight, not in the first 10 seconds like Ilia Topuria wanted to do. He doesn't do that because he's not a knockout artist. But when he's landing hundreds, if not thousands of punches in a fight, and he's wearing you down over 5 rounds, in those last 10 seconds, yeah, when you're beaten to a bag of shit, he's very confident that he can knock you out. Like against Justin Gaethje, it was that spinning back kick right to the face at the end of round 1. That really started the decline for Justin Gaethje. But then he just picked him apart, used his length, used his footwork, used his reach. Beautiful combinations, of course, threw that spinning back kick a bunch of times as well. And then in the final 10 seconds, got the knockout. One of the craziest knockouts that the sport has ever seen, okay? So that's the danger.
Michael Bisping believes Max Holloway's greatest weapon isn't one-punch knockout power. It's the relentless pressure he builds over every round. Rather than chasing an early finish, Holloway gradually breaks opponents down with non-stop combinations, sharp movement, and an incredible work rate. Bisping points to Max's stunning finish over Justin Gaethje as proof of how dangerous that style can become. If Conor McGregor can't end the fight early, Holloway's pace and constant pressure could slowly take control and completely change the fight.
You know, a lot of people, a lot of fans, just people anywhere is saying that the person who wins this fight should fight the 55 or even the 170 champ. So it's absolutely bonkers. You know, all I got to do is go out there, get my hand raised, and not only get your hand raised, you know, you see it all the time when you're getting your hand raised and not even enough. I need to go out there, be exciting, get my hand raised in devastating fashion, and, you know, we'll see what happens after that.
Date for sure, I'll look for that. Holloway's a great opponent. To find my feet in here, I know he's planning on deep waters. It's almost a bit disrespectful. I'm not sure who he thinks he's talking about here. But I am joyous, so excited in this entire situation right now. And I thank God for it every day.
I know.
Prove my level. I have many things that I've taken in this camp that have been fuel to my fire. One, the greatest featherweight of all time, or this ranking system of the greatest featherweights, that I'd beaten these men and hadn't been in the list. How have I beaten these men easily and handily, and yet be kept from the list? All things. Who's the greatest featherweight? What's my skill level? Max and that's why I love Max as an opponent. He's fought so many people, and he's a very impressive body of work inside the octagon. He's for sure a future Hall of Famer, and now I get to go in and showcase my level against, and I'm excited for it. It's perfect for me.
As UFC 329 draws closer, both Conor McGregor and Max Holloway are making it clear that simply winning won't be enough. Holloway says the pressure is on to deliver a dominant, highlight reel performance that leaves no doubt about who deserves the next title opportunity. Meanwhile, Conor dismisses Max's confidence, calling his comments disrespectful and insisting Holloway has underestimated the challenge ahead. McGregor also explains why he believes Max is the perfect opponent to prove his greatness once again, arguing that victories over elite featherweights have never received the recognition they deserve. With both men refusing to back down, the rivalry is becoming more personal than ever before.
Conor McDaddy is back. I can't believe it. I'm so excited.
I can't believe it. I think he's going to knock out Max. Bro, Max has been through so much by now.
He has been through a lot. He's been through a lot of wars, but so it's either Conor, who's been out for 5 years, doing a little bit of nose lattes.
He's been doing a lot.
So he's been hurting his body in a different way. Max has been hurting his body from fighting.
Greg is gonna knock out Holloway. That's my prediction. Holloway, I don't know. I feel like big opportunities like this he's just gonna miss, bro. And this is the perfect opportunity for McGregor to come back, and he needs this. After 5 years of talking, saying he's gonna come back, he needs a good knockout right here.
I mean, a knockout would just be a fucking statement. But if he goes out there and beats Max in a decision, that would almost be. I mean, KO and Max, Elia did it. I think that's the only person that's really ever did it. Max is coming off a 5-round. Charles took him down 5 rounds. So they both really need a win here. But if Conor goes out there and beats Max in a decision, a 5-round decision,
could be.
You got to give him Gaethje. You got to, dude. That would line up so perfect. Max versus Gaethje. If Max goes out there and beats Conor, you could redo that. The first fight, Max beat him, but Conor, he's back. Did you listen to him on the Ariel Helwani pod at all?
He's looking sharp.
He's focused.
Yeah,
he's focused. It's funny. Like I catch myself going through waves of life where I want to party, where I'm like.
As the countdown to UFC 329 continues, the predictions remain completely divided. Sean O'Malley and his team believe this fight could become the perfect stage for Conor McGregor's long-awaited comeback, arguing that a knockout over Max Holloway would instantly put him back among the sport's biggest names. At the same time, they acknowledge that both fighters are carrying years of damage into this matchup, making the outcome impossible to predict. Meanwhile, McGregor has no interest in the doubts surrounding him. Instead, he directly responds to Holloway's confidence, insisting Max has underestimated who he's about to face and making it clear he sees this as the ideal opponent to announce his return.
Yeah, for sure. No, there you go. That's a great point. A flow state, for sure. I'll look for that. Holloway's a great opponent. To finally have my feet in here, I know he's planning on deep waters. It's almost a bit disrespectful. I'm not sure who he thinks he's talking about here. But I am joyous, so excited in this entire situation right now. Thank God for it.
Seem right to you, or sitting there now, do you feel like you would give Conor McGregor better than a 36% chance of victory here?
Man, I think it's probably a little bit closer than that, but I think the thought process is most people see that Conor's been out for a long time, and going back to what we were just talking about, like, is he going to be ready? Is he going to be the Conor McGregor that we used to see, or is it just too far gone? So I think there's a lot of doubt in people's mind with that. So, but yeah, I'd say it's a little closer than that, but I agree that there is a chance Holloway is going to take this fight.
Yeah. Who, if I put you on the spot, who would you pick and how?
Max. Yeah,
Max?
I think so. Yeah.
You think he stops him, or could you see this going all five? Or
I think he's going to stop him.
Yeah.
I think.
While many fans still believe Conor McGregor can shock the world, Chad Mendes sees the fight differently. He admits McGregor's long layoff creates too many unanswered questions, making it difficult to know which version of Conor will show up. Although he believes the matchup is closer than many expect, predicting Holloway's pace, Mendes ultimately gives the edge to Max Holloway. Predicting Holloway's pace and pressure could eventually become and even lead to a stoppage victory.
When you talk to Max, Max doesn't believe that for a second. Max believes that when he lost to McGregor, it was a very short time after that he felt he could compete with and beat McGregor. That's why it's fun. That's why the fight's fun, because not only do you have two guys that are elite at what they do, they both have an unwavering belief in themselves that they can beat the other guy and are going to do everything to make sure that happens. Hawaii's going to show up for Max Holloway. Ireland always.
Daniel Cormier says this rematch is so compelling because neither Conor McGregor nor Max Holloway has any doubt they can beat the other, setting the stage for a true clash of belief.
I'm sure you're not worried about anyone getting into your head, but what do you make of these comments that keep coming up from these sound bites of Conor McGregor where he says, Max Holloway is my child. I'm going to son him again like I did 13 years ago.
I mean, if sonning someone is taking someone down and holding them for 3 rounds, then he's absolutely right, So at the end of the day, it is what it is. For him, whatever it takes for him that he needs to keep telling himself to get Saturday night, do whatever you got to do, because I just want you to make that walk. And the beautiful thing is we get to find.
Max Holloway fires back at Conor's latest trash talk, saying the real answers won't come from words, but inside the octagon.
And as we know, it wasn't going well for him in that fight. Against Dustin Poirier, he was losing the fight quite badly. But, to be fair, it was only round 1. But he did get dropped. He did get ground and pounded. He did get back to his feet. And then he did snap his ankle or his lower leg. He snapped his leg. And since then, he's been away, okay? There's been a lot of talk. Will he ever return? Will he be the same person? And a lot of people are already counting this man out. Of course, he goes up against Max Holloway this weekend.
Michael Bisping revisits Conor McGregor's last appearance, explaining why so many fans still question what version returns at UFC 329.
We mentioned the Irish. I mean, Conor McGregor. 1, do you think he actually makes it to that fight? And 2, you think he beats Max Holloway?
First of all, I don't believe he's gonna come. He's gonna be a fight with him. This is first. Second, if he will, I don't sure he's gonna beat because 5 years to staying away from this sport. This is like too much. It's very long. And third one, if he will beat him, this is good for MMA. He's beginning talk and more fans come back.
You
Why
said
not?
Conor winning is good for MMA.
Yes.
I agree.
That is what it is, brother. This is
the stars.
Yes.
Usman Nurmagomedov believes Max Holloway enters UFC 329 as the favorite, pointing to Conor McGregor's 5-year absence as a major disadvantage that could be difficult to overcome. However, he also admits that if McGregor returns and defeats Holloway, the impact would go far beyond one fight. According to Usman, a Conor victory would bring huge attention, fresh excitement, and a major boost to the entire sport of MMA.
And then he's just going to eventually have his way. I'm going to have to go Max Holloway for the win. Can it be a finish? 100%. If Max gets you tired, he's so good at going in for the kill. And he's even getting much better in the pocket. Even you've seen him. Justin Gaethje, here, firing bombs, you know what I mean? Like still being able to dodge the punches in the amongst that sort of brawl. So it's I think it's just going to be too much for Conor, and you're going to just see Max get his hand raised, maybe get a finish. Can he hurt him, get him to the ground, and then maybe get a submission? You could maybe see that as well. When people crumble and get really tired, there's always a submission there. Gamble responsibly, but there's probably good coin for a submission over a TKO. If you wanted to be a sneaky bet, that could be something, because he will melt him. And when he's melted and just sort of going there shooting because he's so tired, is a submission going to be the way to go? When he turns over and just gives it back, and then, all right, may as well take the submission. Maybe we see that. So, Max Holloway for the win, 100%, maybe submission TKO if he melts.
Alexander Volkanovski believes the biggest danger for Conor McGregor isn't the opening round, it's everything that comes after. According to the former featherweight champion, if Max Holloway survives the early power, the fight could slowly slip away from McGregor. Volk points to Holloway's relentless pressure, improved boxing, and ability to overwhelm tired opponents as the keys to victory. He even suggests the finish might not come by strikes at all. If Conor begins to fade under Max's pace, Volkanovski believes a late submission isn't out of the question, making this one of his boldest predictions yet.
Even later in the first round, and then you're just going to probably see him start to do his thing. You know, people think that Max is just going to walk for him from the start. It ain't going to be that easy. He's going to have big problems early, and I think Max is going to give him that respect and not let him land them big shots. So maybe we don't see him be as successful as he could be if Max was just like, he's done and just wanted to be quite aggressive. He could definitely give Max some problems. Max is going to be clever enough where we won't really see that, but I still think that Conor will be dangerous enough where we're going to be like, oh shit, like, you know, Max needs to be careful. But I think he's going to do the right things to make them adjustments. Stay out of the big danger. Maybe when he gets hit, maybe not.
Although Alexander Volkanovski is backing Max Holloway to win, he warns that overlooking Conor McGregor would be a huge mistake. He believes the opening exchanges will be the most dangerous part of the fight because Conor still has the power to change everything with a single shot. That's why Volk expects Holloway to fight smart, avoid unnecessary risks, and stay disciplined until the danger fades. If Max can survive those explosive early moments without getting caught clean, Volkanovski believes his pace, pressure, and experience will gradually take over and decide the fight. With both fighters making bold promises and some of the biggest names in MMA completely divided, one thing is becoming clear. Nobody truly knows what will happen when the cage door closes at UFC 329. Will Conor McGregor complete one of the greatest comebacks in UFC history and remind everyone why he became the biggest star the sport has ever seen? Or will Max Holloway finally get his revenge, proving that years of constant competition and relentless pressure are simply too much for any comeback story to overcome? The answers won't come from podcasts, interviews, or predictions. They'll come on fight night, when talk ends and two legends finally stand across from each other once again. Now it's your turn. Who do you think leaves the octagon with their hand raised? Does Conor score another spectacular knockout? Or does Max Holloway finally settle the score after more than a decade? Drop your prediction in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more UFC 329 updates, fighter reactions, expert predictions, and exclusive interview breakdowns before fight night, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next upload. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.